This is called efficiency. Now, that is my trusty old recording device. And on there is just under May 2019, I had a chat with AC Grayling, and I refer to this, but it's just like a CV, so to speak. Ace, who he supported Extinction Rebellion. We had a personal chat for about 20 minutes, and I kind of said, look, AC, this is all very well, Extinction Rebellion, but do you want to know the truth? The truth is, I've been dealing with these people for 10, 11, 12 years intensively, and they all perform. They never do anything. But why would I go around with that in my pocket? Because much more important, efficiency. Let's just deal with efficiency. So, as with the wonderful Mrs. Buzz, I like her, but anything can happen in people's lives. Nothing is ever in any way personal. And anyway, I'm not doing anything. I've given up my causes. But I may, for efficiency, that conversation, I may wish to copy 5 specific people into that conversation over the next month or two who may simply get it. It's worth trying to write about these things. That's it. Maybe even, I'm not going to go and make a film of a load of suits going to a courthouse in Hereford. Somebody else may, and that would make a good film. But so for efficiency, I got into the habit of recording everything, just because I'm going to copy 3 or 4 other people who I've met and seem to be on the same page. And that's that. Now, of course, there's a name mentioned in there, Helena, and I've mentioned the name. But I don't even care. I certainly don't want anybody, oh, Helena, here, this is about you. No, she is one of dozens. I only mention a name because she puts herself in public very much. So it's like she's one of dozens. But why have a recording device? Because many times, as of like 10 years ago, meeting more than dealing with trying to block, or 8 years ago, 9 years ago, trying to block an absurd Tesco development of executive homes, 40 of them, in a completely inappropriate place, officially with bad access, on a dangerous bend, in my opinion, much too close to a nature reserve. So I'd see somebody in the car park of Co-op who may be useful. And of course, you begin the polite conversation, and then you have to add in at some point. But guess what, Miss X? None of us have ever done anything. Have you actually? And of course, you said nicely. Have you actually been to a planning meeting yourself? Now, if there's the slightest bit of, are you actually entitled to be angry that there's no houses for young people in the area? If you haven't been to a planning meeting and tried to push onto the agenda not affordable housing, because that's a con. No, have you done the work to figure out what options there are? CLT. Look, I've got a website where I've put up a recording of a very good talk on CLTs, community land trusts, sweat equity, the way for people in the bottom third to end up with a foot on the ladder. It's the government's free money. titleyscheme.blogspot.com. But I may have had a conversation. You care about there not being any houses left for young people. Here's a solution. And as soon as they put some negative, they always fight back with a negative, at which point you have to stand your ground. And it's like, have you actually ever been to a planning meeting? Let's go to one tomorrow. Not something you want to do, but now and again you have to. And at that point, quite often, you will get somebody throwing back something nasty and unpleasant at you. And that's what that's for. Because in Britain, you can get home and a week later get a knock on your door from a bloody copper. Oh, somebody's accused you of being, having threatening behaviour. Well, nobody's ever done that to me, but quite possibly on the cards. Somebody's accused you of having, they've got all their words now they can try and stitch you up with. That's why I've had that going for over 10 years. And it's a good chronicle, but I don't want to in any way name or use any kind of individual example. That's the point. None of them are worth putting into the public domain in a story or something in any way specific to them. They're all so shabby, but it's so predictable. I mean, literally, the amount of times I'm on my third or fourth conversation with somebody who seemingly is on the same side, and then they'll shove something in which is like, yeah, but you are this. No, excuse me, please stop making assumptions about my personality. Unfortunately, I've asked if you would join myself and this person who I know is on the same page for a cup of coffee so we can get to know each other properly. But you're making an assumption about my personality. I'm not having that, okay? No, that's what they all do. Not Mrs. Budge. She's great, but she's literally 1 in 100. But time and time again I've had that, and that is the story. You can use whatever word you want, arsiness, or I've had half a dozen. I had a neighbour who's an artist. I even forget what her name is. She ended up so pathetic. I met her at a couple of Extinction Rebellion meetings. A middle class incomer, 750 grand's worth of property. He is very, 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 what's the right word? Everything's got to be perfect. We have got the expensive master of the universe car in his drive. But she had time, Mary. She had time. She cared, such that she went to a couple of Extinction Rebellion meetings. So I'd send her the odd message, like try and engineer a meeting now and again. Like, oh, yeah, she came to my place. That's right. Yeah, she actually came to visit me, I think. Yeah, she did. Yeah. So it's like, can we be allies? And then stop any communication, or it's like, have you said something that is offended? And I'm very careful not to have. I had my performance this morning with this wonderful lady. It's not a performance, it's with somebody I've already had some great chats with. But then down the road, no, all of a sudden. And then you sit there worrying. Yeah, now the reason I've turned this camera on is quite simply, I don't want to be in this mode, because it's like, that's why I have to. The reason I've had to live super simply, I've spent so much time and energy in 10 years. It is 10 years. Yeah. On the past region I used to live in, environmental and things like egalitarian housing in a terribly under-deprived area where all the super rich had also moved in. So it's like, what can we do? Just a few things. I spent so much energy and time, and then you discover it's all wasted. Now, this gives me a feeling of dread. I'm being a fool. I'm wasting my time. I'm doing this. I'm wasting my time on something that nobody in Britain gets anymore. I'm merely myself. The only reason I'm doing this one is because I certainly will, to some extent, leave it written up properly what's been the reality in the whole of southern Britain. It is the reason the environment's buggered, because these wet blankets take up all the available talk time, that kind of energy, your time, your energy, your focus, and they never do anything. They will end up with a small little clique of 3 of them, and it's all, oh, we're special, but we're victims. I mean, this is rich middle-aged people. We're victims of everybody. And they will take on this persona of, oh, we're damaged. When, had they opened out and been open to joining, making new alliances, in fact, the woman I mentioned is a perfect example, the artist woman, she indicated she wanted to be part of something. She's about 3 or 4 years older than me. I really quite liked her. I liked her art. It's like, hey, you're alive. And then a year later, if I'd have encountered her in the street, she'd kind of ignore me. And it's like, it's not just me. It's like I got the guy 3 miles down the road there. He'll assist you. He's much shyer, or whatever word you want to use. He kind of plays this little game that he's this super sweetie when he's not actually, but he's got the data on how the watercourses in all this area are ruined, destroyed in a bad way. So, I'll link you in with him as well. And I know this woman vaguely, reasonably well, who's the Green Mare. We'll link you in with her. It's all like, and then you realise they were totally and utterly, let's just keep to the word disingenuous, but there we go. That's why I've had to live super simple for 10 years, because of the amount of time and energy wasted. It's efficient to share, put on a web page. I'll probably take them down. These are the themes. These are the lines that come out of it. It's a great line that came out of that chat with Mrs. Buzz. She said, yeah, they're disarmed. So here you go. This is the scenario. Do you want to be part of it? Do you want to have anything to do with it? Have you got any contacts? Do you know a filmmaker who can make a little bit of film, etc.? Simple as that. But I don't want to waste my time repeating myself. Hence efficiency.